This is Predator Hunting Radio. Welcome back. This is episode number 3. You'll have to bear with me a little bit. I'm out here in a watermelon field and the wind is ripping straight out of the south. Kind of got my windshield up on my golf cart here and kind of figured out a way to get my camera mounted and all so I can film this episode. So welcome back. This is episode number 3, and in this episode we're going to be talking about pricing of night vision scopes and kind of like where things are sitting and kind of like where, you know, just to give you a baseline of where things are sitting right now at this state. It's currently April of 2021, and we're going to talk about that, and then also we're going to talk a little bit more about the state of the union, meaning like where I'm at with my predator hunting and my goals. Some pretty humbling stuff I need to talk about there, and after that, that's pretty much going to be it. So let's go ahead and get into this. So what I want to talk about first, I'm going to go ahead and reach up here and talk about the night vision scopes and the night scopes. So obviously you have basically 2 different kinds of scopes, and actually we can almost go into 3, because night vision, back when it first came out, or way back in the day, they had intensifier tubes, and those were really expensive, and some of them you couldn't even, like, if there was too much light, it would just mess it up. So the ones that I'm talking about today, that's like 1st gen, 2nd generation, and 3rd generation. We're not talking about those today. We're talking about the newer stuff, which is digital night vision. And that's going to be your lower end products, the digital night vision. And then we also can talk about the higher end stuff, which is basically thermal scopes. There's a couple different things I'll talk about in between there, just to kind of break some stuff up and kind of give you a background on it. So this is a digital night vision scope. This is actually a Sightmark Wraith. It is a 5 power, 5 by whatever, 32 or something like that. And basically it runs off of batteries. Being a complete digital scope, you cannot use this scope if you don't have batteries. Now, or if you don't have a battery source. It takes 4 AA's right here in this little compartment right here. I like these because they are pretty much waterproof and dustproof. I mean, to a certain extent. Like if it was raining right now, I would not be afraid to get this scope wet, because it is like IP66 or something like that, water resistant, something like that. So everything's pretty well covered and protected. And then there are a couple different battery options for this. The AA's, if you just get regular AA's off the shelf, no good. They won't last but like 2-3 hours. Horrible. So they do make a rechargeable, like kind of hybrid battery that goes in here that works really well. And then also they have a port right there, a USB micro port, and you can charge it or actually run this scope off of a battery pack. They have 5,000 power battery packs, 5,000 milliamp hour battery packs, and also 10,000 milliamp hour. And then this is actually even a 20,000. This thing would run the scope for days, but it's kind of big and heavy, and I like to stay down a little bit, because even the 10,000 will run this thing for like over 15 hours. And for me, I like to stay as light as possible in the field, because it's a lot you're carrying around to begin with. So another thing I want to talk about really quick too, if you notice the other scope, which I'm going to bring that up in a second, but this kind of has like a boxy style frame, meaning like all your computer stuff's in here, your lens is right here, your eyepiece is right here, but doesn't look like a traditional scope. It doesn't use traditional scope rings. It has its own mount on there, and that's something that you're definitely going to want to consider when you're buying one of these as well, is the style that you want. But the digital night vision, now with the digital night vision, you have an infrared illuminator. Okay, this is an infrared illuminator. It shines out a 850 nanometer wavelength infrared beam out of this light right here. It runs off of 2 CR123A batteries, or you can get a single rechargeable for it. And then this light, if I were looking at it sideways, you cannot see this light with the naked eye whatsoever. But the night vision scope really just blows it up. I mean, it just really illuminates everything. It has to do with filters inside and all that. Also, if I were to turn it on, it would have a little red glow to it, and you can see the glow right there. You can see that pretty well. At nighttime, if you just kind of look at it a little bit, you can see the glow, but if you're far away from it and you're looking right into it, you can definitely see the glow as well. So that's definitely something too. If you're shooting at stuff and you're lighting them up with this little light, even though it's not much, if they see the light again, they will run. And I've had that happen to me before, because sometimes at night I'm not the best shot, and I take shots sometimes that I push, and it happens. But this scope right here works in the daytime, but at nighttime, if there's a full moon, you can see a little bit, but really it's really hard to see without the infrared illuminator. I'm going to say you're going to need an illuminator. And also the illuminators that come with these, the stock ones, they work okay, but they really don't work that good. There's such better illuminators out there, aftermarket ones, that you can see 5, 6, 7, 800 yards with, that really just light up the world. And it'll definitely help you when you're videoing, because you're going to want the most light when you're videoing, and also just help you to see farther and identify stuff better anyways. So that's the night vision. And let's talk about the night vision. This scope right here is probably, in my opinion, the best scope for under 500 bucks. This scope rings in about $495, and it basically it's simple. It doesn't do streaming or anything like that, but it does video record. It has many different profiles that you can set for different rifles or different bullets. It videos, it takes pictures, it has different colors that you can change your reticles. It has different reticles. It's a really good scope for the money, and I definitely recommend it. This is a 5 power. They also make a 2 power, which is good for really close. I bought this originally, and multiple times I've had game really close to me where I couldn't even see them, because this is such high magnification. It's really a 4. I'm sorry, it's really a 4 magnification, but it's really more like a 4.5 to 5. It's really magnified. So if something's running real close to you and you have your light on, it's just really hard to pick them up, especially when they're running and there's stuff going on. It just gets hairy. So, but without the light, you can't really see good, much less at all. And also night vision for $495. So that's a good starting point. You know, if you want to talk about pricing and you want to talk about where the pricing lies, $495, that's a good spot to start. 500 bucks. They do have a couple of cheaper brands out there that have been around for a long time that are a lot less money, like 300, I think, of the Firefly or something like that. I don't have any experience with that one, but this one I do, and I've done a lot of damage with this scope. So now let's get into a little bit more of the thermal. And I want to hold both of these up again and show you. And also, just so you know, with this scope, you're going to have the added weight of a light. So that just makes it a little bit more heavier. And that's something to consider when you're trying to be light out in the field as well. So I'm going to put this one down and talk about the thermal now. So the thermal that I have right here on this weapon, and this is my weapon of choice that I use all the time. This is a Pulsar Thermion XQ50. It retails for like $37.99. And basically right now around this time, which is April 2021, they are coming out really soon with the Thermion 2, which has a better, clearer picture. But this picture is amazing, and I love this scope. I've had it probably 6 months now, and I'm going to do a review on that pretty soon, just like a quick review or maybe even a full review. But I love this scope. So one of the things to talk about here on this scope is it doesn't have sound, but the Pulsar Thermion definitely has sound, and it's cool to have sound because it just helps you when you're videoing stuff all the time. So this is more in a traditional style scope. It looks like a traditional scope, so it mounts easier on different kinds of rifles. I have a one-piece mount here. I actually bought this mount on Amazon, and I do not recommend that mount. It was $35, and so far it's holding, but I stripped out one of the screws, and I definitely should get a better mount for it. But for right now, I'm killing stuff with it, and I don't want to change the mount for right now. But eventually that will be something that I will do in the future. So this is a thermal rifle scope. This thing has a detection range of 1,800 yards. And I can definitely attest to that because I was right over there a few weeks ago, and there's a road. I don't know how far it is. It's way over there, like a hard road. And I could see a car going down the road, and I put the scope up and looked, and I could see that car perfectly clear go across that field. And I actually Google mapped and did the distance, and it was 1,854 yards. So now I'm not saying you can shoot that far with this, because you can't, and I would never do that. But at the same time, you know, up to 300 yards, I would take that shot any day of the week. And also, you know, you're looking at anything in between. This is a 3.5 power base mag scope, and it does zoom in, but the zoom gets really pixelated really fast, and I don't really zoom anyways at night because it throws me off of my distance. So this scope has internal batteries. It has 2 internal batteries actually, and this one's removable, so you can have like basically 2 batteries and one to swap out, or you can get multiples, which is really cool. It'll last a long time as well, so you don't have to worry about, you know, putting batteries in it. It's already got the batteries, and you can get an extra battery for it. And it's thermal, so thermal picks up heat sources. It has multiple color reticles. It has multiple rifle profiles, and also within those rifle profiles, it has multiple distance profiles in the rifle profiles. So you could set 50, 100, 150, I think 5 in each rifle profile, which is really, really cool. This one actually does streaming as well. Like, it's got all the bells and whistles. It'll stream to a tablet. I do have a tablet mount right here on the cart, and sometimes I'll stream just so other people can see what's going on, which kind of helps with the boredom of, you know, me having all the fun and other people just riding and not knowing really what's going on. So that's really cool. And then as far as the price of this one, now this is more in the middle tier, but I'm going to go ahead and set this back down and talk more about that, because most people, when they start out with a night vision scope, okay, because obviously it's a lot cheaper, and that's exactly what I did. I started out with an ATN. It was about 800 bucks. I upgraded with the actual with an actual illuminator, so I was sitting at right around 1,000. But you know, the thermal scopes, they do have some cheaper, I'm going to say cheaper ATN style thermal scopes for like around 1,000. I don't really deal too much with those. I've never owned one. I actually have looked through one, and they do look really cool, but they're very simple, very limited. But really, you're, you know, jumping from night vision to thermal, and night vision goes anywhere from, you know, 500 bucks all the way up to, I mean, you can spend up to $3,000 on a real night vision scope. But, you know, it just depends on where your price range is. Night vision, to me, you're going to be able to ID things a little bit better, but, you know, night vision versus thermal, I've been out in the field before, and the thermal can see things that the night vision can't. But sometimes the night vision can ID things when the thermal can't. So there's obviously trade-offs, and the price difference, you know, 500, and I'm going to say the night vision, you know, starting out at like, they do have a new thermal coming out. I think it's going to be like $13.95 from Bearing Optics. That's going to be pretty cool to check out, but you're going to be limited. You know, it's going to be a slower frame rate, so it's not going to be real, when you move, it's not going to stay crisp with you. This thing has a 50 hertz refresh rate. It is absolutely crispy. If things are on the run, you can keep up with them. It's really cool. Really just an amazing scope. And this one, like I said, it retails at $37.99, so you're way up there in the price range. But generally, you know, jumping from night vision to thermal, I mean, you can $19.99, you're in the money. And right now there's a huge group of thermals that go from like $19.99 all the way up to like $27 or $28.99, and they're, you know, basically go from there's like 1 power to 6 power, and then you got another one that's like 2 power to 8 power, and that's where pretty much where your sweet spot is of basically beginner type thermals are. So, you know, you obviously got a big jump if you're going from night vision to thermal. To me, it's worth it. Or if not, you could always, and I don't have my monocular here because it's getting repaired, but you can always start out with just a night vision scope and then get a thermal just to find stuff, and then you find them in the scope, and then you take care of it that way. And to me, I like that as well, because the monocular that I have, it's a 1 power, so there's nothing getting really close to me that I'm not gonna be able to see. And you have no idea, like, a lot of times when we're out, we're up against woods, and there's things that are coming out of the woods right at us. Like, it's just so hard to see things when you're really that close. And to me, having that close ability to see is just priceless, because nothing can get close to you. And at the same time, with the monocular that I have, I can still see out 300-400 yards and even 500 yards and pick up a heat source. So that just kind of gives you something to play with. And the monoculars, they're right there. There is a monocular out there for like $400 right now. And I did have that monocular. I have a video on that. If you go to perceptiveoutdoors.com and look up the AGM ASP Micro, and by the way, the link will be in the description. But that thing does work good, and it's $400, and it's a good monocular to start with if you need a monocular. But it just really depends on the type of hunting that you're doing and the style. And then they have monoculars right now. They go from like 400, and then I think there's a couple at 700, and then there's one I just sold the other day at like 1,300, and then they go on up into like 2,500. And some people are running like high-end scopes with high-end monoculars. I mean, there's even monoculars that Pulsar makes that are like 4,000, and that's like the Helion. It's got a 640 core. I mean, those things are amazing. So it just really depends on where you want to be, but I'm just trying to give you on this video the price range. So 500-ish, 500-ish to, I mean, with the digital night vision, you're going to be 500 to 1,200, something like that. And then with the thermals, you're going to be probably around, 1,900. There are exceptions to the rule, all the way up to $7,500, $8,000, even $9,000, just depending on how good you want. Because in your thermals, there are 384 cores, and then if you really want to put some money into it, you can get the 640 core, which is the best core, and it's real clear. And whenever you zoom, you lose a little bit of your clarity, but you still have a nice zoom. So you're going to be able to see a lot farther, have a lot cleaner picture on the 640. Now, I'm doing well with this 384, but eventually I will upgrade to a 640. So it just depends on where you're at with your budget and all that. So that's pretty much all I have for the pricing. If you have any questions on the pricing or anything that I can help you with on the night vision versus thermal, drop a comment below. I'd be happy to help out with any of that. I don't always know the answer to everything, but if you ask me a question that I don't know, I'll look it up. I mean, this is just like the stuff that I love. So going into from that, we're gonna go ahead and slide into the State of the Union, which I was saying earlier that it's kind of been a little bit humbling, because number one, getting out 2 to 3 nights a week has been really hard, plus doing the podcast. And generally I would go out after this and do more podcasts. There's a watermelon field here. We were out here the other night, and just the coyotes are, to me, are in a weird spot. I'm not saying that I'm over hunting the land that I have, but I need more land. So the State of the Union, for the coyotes, I need more land. I need more land. There's no doubt about that. I got quite a bit of land, and I've done well on that, but I need new land that they have never heard my sounds before, because I feel like I can call and get them to respond, but I can't get them to come out. Now, we did kill one here 2 weeks ago, which was the last one we killed, which is right over there. But we actually were here. We knew there was one here, and then there's a whole group of them that live right over here. There's a pit over here. But we actually pulled up to the gate, and he was laying out there, and we actually went through the gate, called him up, shot him, donezo. And then there was another one on this side when we left and missed him, but, that happens. So, and obviously when you're shooting at them, that's makes it a little bit harder to hunt them next time, in my opinion. So, but that's what's going on with that. The coyotes, I need more land. I need more land. I have to apply myself and get more land. So more farmers, find the farmers that need the help. Just got to apply myself. I got to set a rule for myself, I guess, to at least talk to 1 or 2 more farmers a week to try to get more land and apply myself. So then from that, let's talk about the hogs. So got plenty of places that we do have hogs in and out of, and actually been working on a bait site, and baited it up a couple weeks ago, and that particular piece got rated pretty well. It went from basically a post hole that I dug that I covered up to a sink about this big, and it's probably about 3 foot deep. And then the last 2 nights, 2 nights ago, there was a big pig there for 2 hours in that one hole eating corn. And then last night there were 4 pigs there for over 7 hours off and on eating that corn. So that's kind of working, and I will talk about that more in another episode. But that's working, and I need to get more of those because I'm trying to kill more pigs, but I'm also trying to help other people kill pigs. So that is a good deal right there. And I will definitely share that recipe later. Shout out to Deer Meat for Dinner on that one. I used your recipe. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but you are one of my people that I look up to, and I appreciate that recipe. So anyways, yeah, that's what's going on with that. So we're baiting up pigs in areas that we know there's pigs near swamps. And then the coyotes, we need to get more property for the coyotes. And they're right now in the coyotes, they should be right about ready to start having pups. So we're going to start bringing out the pup distress a lot more and try to get in tune with that. The other night when we were out here on Thursday night, and like I said, we could get them to respond. We got one to bark over there. We got another one to respond over here, but we just never could get them to show. And that might be where I'm lagging, you know. I mean, I'm new at this, so I don't really know the game. I'm hoping to get with some people locally here shortly and just learn a little bit more from them, and hopefully step up my game by doing that. And also hopefully able to possibly look into doing an interview with some of these guys so that we can learn better too. So that's about it. I want to remind you, if you're looking to buy a new scope here in the near future, check out my free PDF. It's you can get that free PDF at yournextnightscope.com. That's you just go there and put in your email address and hit the enter button, and it will send you over, and then you can download the free PDF. It'll save you time, money, and aggravation on, you know, just the things that you're going to need to know when you buy your next scope, whether it's your first scope or your third scope, whatever, just things that I would consider when doing this. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and there's all kinds of stuff to consider, from batteries to magnification to, you know, just everything, anything, you know, scope rings and all that, just anything that you would need to know. Free PDF, check it out. And other than that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I want to thank you for watching, or if you're just listening to it, thank you for listening. We are primarily on YouTube, but we are syndicating out the audio, and I want to thank you for that. If you, like I said, if you have any questions, please drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if it's something that I don't know, or if it's a question, I'll look it up, you know, just to learn, because I'm always learning. Also, if you can, drop a thumbs up if you like this episode, and we're going to continue to do this on a weekly basis. Thank you for watching. My name is Tony Abreu. This is Predator Hunting Radio, episode 3, and we will see you on the next episode.